12 o'clock. Good afternoon. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. Ogun deploys staff from 20 local governments to new LCDs. The Sultan blames agitations on unpunished impunity in the past. Governor accuses security agencies of failing to rid Nigerians of criminals. Dangote says growing army of jobless youths giving him sleepless nights. In foreign, helicopter attacks Venezuela Supreme Court with grenades, and vaccine unveiled to counter worldwide cyber attack. I am Chienye Egwuonwu, bringing you the news and details shortly. Ogun State government has deployed some civil servants from the state's 20 local governments to the newly created 37 local council development areas for effective running of the councils. The elected LCDA officials, inaugurated last October 10 by Governor Ibikunle Amosu, has been running their councils without staff. The transferred council's workers have been directed by the Ogun State Local Government Service Commission to immediately report to their new posting on Wednesday after the Eid al-Fitr holiday. Last May, the State Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs Commissioner Chief Jide Ujuko had told Rock City FM in an interview that the state government was still working on the modality for sharing the assets of the 20 local governments with the LCDs before the deployment of civil servants to the LCDs. Policemen have made several arrests in Akure, the Ondo State capital, following bloody clashes between members of rival cult groups. Some of the cultists were killed, while others were severely injured. The clashes, which began last Sunday night, lasted till Monday night, resulting in the hurried closure of shops and markets in the town. The armed cultists chased each other along the major roads in Akure. Spokesman of the State Police Command, Femi Joseph, says 20 of the suspected cultists have been arrested so far in the last 2 days of fighting. The police image maker put the death toll from the clashes at 3. The Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Saad Abubakar has blamed the ongoing agitations nationwide on the wrath in the Nigerian system. The top traditional ruler says in the past, a lot of things was done by some people with impunity and they got away with them. The Sultan, who made the observation while receiving Salah homage from Governor Nyesom Wike at his palace in Sokoto, canvassed for a dialogue to resolve the misunderstandings and problems in the country. Responding, Governor Wike says people and government of Rivers State believe in the indivisibility of Nigeria. Instead of the breakup of Nigeria, Wike told the Sultan there are better ways of solving the problems causing agitations in the country. Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, says it has no agenda of prosecuting its Biafra Republic project with another round of civil war. The group says its agenda is referendum and not to plunge Nigeria into a war. IPOB accused enemies of Biafra of inciting people against it due to ignorant or deliberate manipulation of facts. The group, in a statement by its spokesman, Emeka Powerful, says the self-determination which it is pursuing is in line with the UN Charter on the Rights of Indigenous People and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. To achieve the objective, IPOB says its only weapon is civil disobedience, which is legal and has nothing to do with armed conflicts. Governor Sonny Bello of Niger State has accused the security agencies of failing to protect Nigerians against criminal elements. As a governor, Bello says he is now afraid because he no longer trusts anybody. The governor, speaking while receiving the state's top traditional rulers who paid him Salah homage at the government house in Minna, says that a lot of public fund is being spent on security, but criminals are still having a field day. In the past, Governor Bello recalls that criminals hardly get away with crimes such as kidnapping or murder, adding that kidnap kingpins and other tough criminals now walk on the streets freely. He suggested that traditional rulers, if given a fraction of fund being given to security agencies, will effectively secure the society from criminals. A 22-year-old Nigerian woman attempting to migrate into Europe through the harsh Sahara Desert survived after being abandoned by traffickers for 10 days. The International Organization for Migration (IOM) said the woman, given the nickname Adora, was the only female among the survivors of a rescue mission on May 28. Niger Chief of Mission for IOM, Giuseppe Lupreti, says that Adora left Nigeria in early April, hoping for a better future in Europe. According to the mission chief, there were 50 migrants on a pickup truck when it left Agdes for Libya, but said that only 6 are still alive. Recounting her ordeal, the Nigerian survivor recalls they were in the desert for 10 days after the driver abandoned them on the 5th day with all of the belongings. During the next 2 days, 44 of the migrants died, which persuaded the 6 left to start walking to look for help. She had left Nigeria with 2 close female friends who both died in the desert. The International Organization for Migration (IOM) said it rescued no fewer than 600 people since April 2017 through a new search and the rescue operation that targeted migrants stranded in Sahara Desert. The UN Migration Agency, however, regretted 52 migrants, mostly from the Gambia, Nigeria, Senegal, and Cote d'Ivoire, died over the period. A 27-kilometer trench is being dug around the University of Maiduguri to prevent further suicide bomb attacks by Boko Haram militants. The university has suffered attacks by suicide bombers on 5 separate occasions since January, leading to loss of lives. Governor Kashim Shettima says his administration is financing the trench with 50 million naira and asked the presidency for money to fund a permanent barrier. Shettima is also releasing money to pay allowances to guards drawn from local vigilante groups who are working with the police to patrol the area. In a fresh attack on Sunday, 3 suicide bombers attacked the university, killing themselves and a security guard. The trenches are designed to make it impossible for the militants to drive into the university, as well as making it harder for them to access the campus on foot. Spain has deported 23 Nigerians back to the country for various offences. The fresh deportation is coming 5 days after 6 European countries repatriated 34 Nigerian immigrants. The newly deported Nigerians arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, from Spain on Tuesday morning. The deportees include 21 males and 2 females. Spokesman of the Airport Police Command, Joseph Alabi, says 9 of them, deported for drug-related offences, had been handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for prosecution. 2 of them were also handed over to the police for undisclosed criminal offences, while 12 others were indicted for immigration-related offences. You're still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business, and sports news. Please do stay with us. Now in foreign, Venezuela's Supreme Court has been attacked by grenades dropped from a helicopter in what President Nicolas Maduro called a terrorist attack. Footage on social media shows a police helicopter circling over the city before shots and a loud bang ahead. The police officer said to have piloted the stolen aircraft identified himself as Oscar Perez in video statements, which were posted on the social media platform Instagram. Appearing in military fatigues and flanked by armed, masked men in uniform, he appealed to Venezuelans to oppose tyranny. Officials said 4 grenades were dropped on the court and 15 shots had been fired at the Interior Ministry. No injuries were reported, but President Maduro said a social event had been taking place at the court and the attack could have caused dozens of deaths. Mr. Maduro has placed the military on alert to capture the helicopter and those who carried out the attack. Mr. Maduro said the pilot had worked for former Interior and Justice Minister Miguel Rodriguez Torres, but was no longer with him. Security researchers have discovered a vaccine for the huge cyber attack that hit organizations worldwide on Tuesday. The creation of a single file can stop the attack from infecting a machine. However, researchers have not been able to find a so-called kill switch that will prevent the crippling ransomware from spreading to other vulnerable computers. By creating a read-only file named perf and placing it within a computer's C Windows folder, the attack will be stopped in its tracks. Among the victims of the attack were the Ukrainian central bank, the Russian oil giant Rosneft, British advertising firm WPP, and the US law firm Dla Piper. Next is the business news. Africa's richest man, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, says he is having sleepless nights over the growing population of jobless Nigerian youths. Dangote expresses the concern in Lagos on the sideline of his meeting with business leaders and chief executive officers of companies from Nigeria and Kenya. He is worried over the growing unemployment and poverty, especially in the north, where limitless procreation prevails. The business mogul, who is the chairman of the Dangote Industries, says the situation worried him more than whether his business makes profits or not. According to Dangote, frustration always sets in when youths are jobless, adding that it is partly responsible for the emergence of Boko Haram. To Dangote, it is the collective responsibilities of both the government to create new jobs to address the restlessness and agitations in the country. Finally, sports news. Henry Onyekuru has confirmed the speculation of a move to Everton by posting a picture of him visiting the club on social media. The 20-year-old Cas Yupen player has been strongly linked with a move to the Premier League in recent weeks after enjoying a superb season in Belgium's top flight. Arsenal appeared to be on the pole season to sign the Nigerian after he confirmed an offer and explained his admiration for Ghana's great Thierry Henry. However, it now appears that Everton are close to landing a transfer for the player, with Onyekuru having a medical at the club earlier this week. The player himself confirmed his visit to Goodison Park with the following post on the Instagram. That was the midday news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun deployed staff from 20 local governments to new LCDs. The Sultan blames agitations on unpunished impunity in the past. Governor accused security agencies of failing to rid Nigerians of criminals. And Dangote said grown army of jobless youths giving him sleepless nights. While on the foreign scene, we also told you that helicopter attacked Venezuela's Supreme Court with grenades, and vaccine unveiled to counter the worldwide cyber attack. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Chienye. Good afternoon.